Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second half of your master's preparation for the CAPES. So obviously, because this year is exceptional from many points of view, it might seem a little bit contradictory that you are being asked to prepare an oral exam, right? That's what this class is about. This is preparation for their oral part of your CAPES certification exam. And yet you will not be able to take that test this summer as planned, right? So you are expected, nonetheless. You're getting credit for this class. You're nonetheless expected to complete this class, meaning that we are going to ask you in a few weeks to send us a video of you, I would say, essentially performing the épreuve sur dossier part for the CAPES, right? Which means we're going to sort of practice on that, right? And I hope, I'll explain more, more in detail as far as the method next week. This week I'm going to sort of start a three-part introduction to what I would say sort of cultural information that is very helpful. I've actually been, I've served on the jury of the CAPES, and my approach to this class is to sort of share with you sort of things that I observe in candidates and share things that you can really fix. I mean, there's a few sort of basics about sort of differences between, I would say generally speaking, what we call English speaking or Anglo-Saxon culture and French culture that can really go a long way to helping you get in the inside of these dossiers, right? These set of documents that you're presented with. It's very important that you feel sort of confident that you once you receive this set of documents, that you know what to do with it, right? Instead of sort of missing the main point, which very often happens. So it's really a good idea to sort of be able to understand the gist, the most central and basic ideas that are contained in really most every set of documents you're going to get. So that is what this is. These first three, I would say, this first series, this three-part series of videos about English-speaking culture is going to be about. It's going to enable you to sort of field or kind of confront in a meaningful way sort of anything that comes your way, right? Because these are documents that you're going to be receiving. These are direct transcripts and videos and texts, right, that come from English-speaking civilization. So it's really important to take that into account, and it will enable you to discuss them in a meaningful way, right? So that's sort of the justification of what we're doing. Now, I'm also hoping that because there has been obviously a change in the way that you're going to be evaluated. You're going to be sort of evaluated in situation. I'm fairly convinced that this same information will help you, will be invaluable to the new sort of I want to say improvised, but the exceptional form of evaluation that you are going to be encountering next year for those of you who will be validating your stage, right? So hopefully that's sort of clear what we're going to be doing, right? So in this class, what you can sort of think of it as sort of a real-time preparation for this oral, for your oral part. Now we're not doing the part on la pédagogie, which is in French, right? We're only concerned really with les épreuves sur dossier, right? Which is the set of documents you're being able to establish relationships and give a sort of a 20-minute preparation of those set of documents. So this part, I'm just going to start with sort of an overview of being able to situate this set of documents, I would say, in the sort of historical context. So we're going to look. This will involve just. It's going to be chronological. This first presentation is going to be about English, I would say, civilization, if you prefer, up until I would say the 1688, which I'm sure you're familiar with, up until the glorious revelation in 1688. I'm going to try to present that information. Then we're going to have a second. The second part in this series will be about 1688 until the present time. And then there will be a third part on American civilization. You will also find, so the information I'm giving you is also going to be contained in two documents, right? There's sort of a bibliography on books that to be honest, these are just books that I like. Actually, there's one book I don't like very much, and I've indicated this. I've sort of given you a sort of a brief, appreciation, if you will, and sort of to what these, a lot of these are sort of history books, not exclusively. There might be sort of there's some of them are more literary, some of them are more civilizational, some of them are more sort of sociological. But the idea is when you are evaluated, however you are evaluated, it's really important to sort of get a taste for, I would say, the most. These are sort of comprehensive books that really allow you to get to feel, the history and the culture of English-speaking cultures from the inside. And it's really important, because you're specialists and you're English teachers, to do this yourself. So, and this would be a great project for you to really sort of see which books interest you, because this 3-part series, right, will kind of follow the bibliography, and if you can say, "Oh, this aspect interests me, I'll read this book." And to be honest, most of them are entertaining. You should be able to enjoy reading these things. They're not really that dry, right? They're not really books. I mean, that's sort of the paradox of these national exams. In French, you have this word, le bachotage. These are books that you can reasonably read for pleasure as an English specialist, right? And they're in general. I haven't included any books that are really difficult to read. I would say that the exception might be Orientalism by Edward Said, because he's influenced by Michel Foucault, the French philosopher and sociologist. So that makes it harder to read. But I would say that is the only book that is not written with just a limpid style, which should be the hallmark of sort of a good, I would say, English-speaking, specialist on cultural or historical things. So that we're going to have our 3-part sort of cultural classes, and this is the first one. Of course, there's probably going to be a second video, because by the time I end up giving you this information, I'll probably have to start again. But so we're going to have a sort of a 3-part cultural overview, if you prefer, and then there's going to be also, at the same time, the first one of these you'll get next week. You're going to have 2 videos about the method, as far as how you go about analyzing your set of documents, and how you go about analyzing and preparing them, really. And I hope that advice will help you when it comes to what you're expected to do in the fall. I'm fairly convinced it will. But of course, I cannot say this with certainty, because this is, as you say, as you know, that it has only been 2 weeks since it has been announced that you will be evaluated next year and not this summer. So I'm hoping that, or I'm going to try to maybe modify what I'm presenting to make it transversal, make you able to use this method, right, in another context. And to be honest, I'm not completely sure it will be possible, because I can't guarantee that you will be evaluated in a given way, because that depends on an inspection, right? But I am fairly convinced that there's a few sort of basic principles about how you analyze things and talk about them in this kind of context. I'm fairly convinced that it should serve you in good stead. right? So I'll stop the video now. The next one will be you know, the sort of the introduction to this. In the first video will be about, I would say, you know, the United Kingdom, more largely speaking, you know, United Kingdom civilization, and just to put our finger on some of the things that you're always going to be able to use when analyzing a set of documents. So I will see you very shortly.